Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another episode of Bad Comic Beatdown. In this case, it's Captain Marvel, #1. I was not expecting to do this one. I was gearing up to do another one, but then oh yeah, wait a second, I do have new comics. I should read one. Holy Toledo and a Half. It's, as you could tell on the cover here, the 5th time Marvel has rebooted Captain Marvel since Ms. Marvel took the mantle. And that is amazing. Now, is it their lack of confidence in the character? Is it our disinterest in the character? I think that's it, actually. I'm asking, but in all honesty, I think it's our disinterest and their belief that a #1 comic will sell more, so they should just reboot, which actually causes us to be less and less interested. Anywho, let's get this party started. I want to get this over with. So, obviously, we should begin with the cover, and this is wrong. Okay, she's got the hero pose. She's supposed to look tall and imposing, but is it me? She looks incredibly short here. I mean, there are ways, even, like, they filmed, let's take Tom Cruise, for example. They film him with angles that make him look a lot taller than he is. He's a short guy. Right here, just the proportions are wrong. The stance, that's okay, fine. The face is horrendous. It's amazing to me that this made it onto a professional comic book. I like the colors. The juxtaposition, the blue, the orange, the red, that works fine. I know some people are like, hey, that's communist propaganda. Okay. But, gosh, you know what? My daughter draws better than this. If she came up with something like this, I'd be, oh, that's sweet pumpkin, and just to encourage her. This should not be on a professional comic book, especially from one of the big two. And what's weirder, the interior art is better than this cover. The cover should be your best foot forward. This isn't. And by the way, before anybody says it, no, I don't draw. But then again, I'm not trying to sell my little stick figures to Marvel Comics to put them on the covers. The book opens, and it's cool to see that Marvel will never stop trying to tell us how to feel about Captain Marvel. Fighter, soldier, hero, pilot, captain, leader, warrior, icon. That's not the way it works. We buy the comics. We say, ooh, we love the comics. We love this character. And then the character becomes iconic. You guys don't get to tell us.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Oh, one more thing before we move on to the next page. Yeah, we're still on the very first page. Before we move on, I would like to point out the resemblance, shall we say, between the first issue of this run of Captain Marvel and the first issue of America. This could be the comic that keeps on giving this year. God bless Captain Marvel #1 and God bless Gabby Rivera. And, of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel comic book without a page that tells us who to blame, like Kelly Thompson and Carmen Carnero. And, of course, a recap page, because this is the first issue, after all. The past year has been difficult for Carol. Her brother suffered a life-threatening injury, and Carol stepped down from the Avengers and Earth Space Defense Program Alpha Flight to take care of him. Then a Kree assassin attacked her family home and killed her mother, who had been hiding her identity as a Kree warrior from Carol all this time. And no, the retcon has nothing to do with the movie, because we know how well that turned out last time we did it. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Always get up. I've made enough mistakes to fill a book. Several books, okay, fine. A whole shelf. But there's this thing about making mistakes. You'll learn a lot from them. So I figure I'm some kind of dean at this point, given the whole shelf of mistakes thing. And you know the most important lesson I've learned? Always get up. If you always get up, then it's never over. Do they honestly think that we don't recognize this speech?
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Carol meets up with Spider-Woman, who tells her, hey, I missed you. I guess this is the first time they've seen each other since she's been back on Earth. And she tells her that the kaiju has been kicking Spider-Woman's ass since Wall Street. Yet, for some reason, she looks clean and crisp. And Carol, who apparently arrived late to the fight, is all bloodied up, and she's supposed to be tougher. So right away, good going, guys. You derailed the book in the second page. Another bit of bad writing, I've got to say, is the fact that we don't see them struggling with the monster again. I mean, Carol was beaten to the point where she was bloody. Remember, she's one of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe, according to Marvel. And yet, all of the dialogue is just about carrying it away. We know the monster's conscious, but it's not fighting back. It really is a misstep. It's a huge misstep, this page. And the following. This entire opening shouldn't be here. So Captain Marvel finally gets the monster airborne. We see Jessica, Spider-Woman, say, hey, wait a second, I don't like being on top of this. I don't really fly, you know that, right? All I do is glide, and Captain Marvel gets caught in a tentacle, but quickly gets away by kicking it down. I kid you not, kicks a tentacle, and when she does that, Spider-Woman begins to fall, and instead of gliding like she told us we can, she's like, hey, you know I'm falling, right? Which leaves, of course, Captain Marvel needing to save her for some reason. Spider-Woman is competent in her own book, so why is she incompetent here is the big question. So anyway, the monster wakes up, grabs onto a little girl, throws it into his mouth, and Captain Marvel's like, oh, hell no. She jumps into the creature's mouth, and Jessica, Spider-Woman, is like, oh no, this is not how Captain Marvel dies. I can't believe he can't be killed by a Kraken creature, which makes no sense considering the dialogue about death that comes up later. And then we see exactly how much BS that first panel where we saw a bloodied and beaten Captain Marvel was, because in this one, she just willy-nilly blasts right through the creature's skull. If she had the power to penetrate, she had the power to destroy. So, I don't know. I don't know, gang. Marvel Comics, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, confession time. When this panel came up, I saw the empty loop on the bottom of the dog leash, and I thought they left the dog in the monster, and I was like, oh, okay, this book gets extra points, which means it would have been up to point number 1. But unfortunately, we see the dog vomiting. Then some guy offers Carol a t-shirt. Hey, this is for free for you. And instead of saying thank you and maybe wearing it later, she uses it to wipe off monster goo because, hey, why not? And so 100 Iron Man armor show up just to say, hey, we're going to take the monster. And Carol fights with her for some reason. And they end up taking the monster away. And this is a useless page. The only thing that is conveyed here is that there is an interview with Tony the next day and that what happens to the monster. That's it. And this is one of the things I really do not like about this comic book. This is a 5-page comic book stretched over 22 pages. All the information you get in one page, you get in the next. That first fight they just had never comes up again. Nothing in that particular fight is anything we don't learn throughout the rest of the book as well. This is so far the most useless comic book I have ever read. Okay, that's hyperbolic, but bear with me. We are now 12 pages in, and nothing has mattered. So now on page 13, maybe the story will actually begin. We are at Tony Stark's headquarters, and for some reason, even though they say Tony Stark's headquarters, the next panel says Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. He begins to say, nice work on that octopus thing downtown today. I think it was more of a Kraken thing, but sure, glad to help. Good to get back in things with a bang. It's funny you should put it like that. If you make a "that's what she said" joke, Tony, I will throw you out the window. Please, such a dated reference. I could come up with something better, I'm sure. Oh, God. Okay, anyway. So now that you're back on Earth, and back from your sabbatical in Maine, we want you back in a big way with the Avengers on your own. All of it. No problem, that's the plan. Great, so we need you to do an interview. Everybody still awake? Anybody? You know, I mean, it's exposition heavy now. Can you see how this is the actual beginning of the story? She arrives, this is our plan, this is my motivation, this is what I'm going to do. All of that information is now dumped on this one page, throwing the pacing way off. Sorry, but once again, bad writing. Bad structure, anyway. Oh, and there is something that's said on the bottom of the page that I want to point out here that I just found a little bit strange. After she refuses, he says, it's not really an option. You've been out of the spotlight for a long time. We need to control that story, shape it into something positive. Everyone agreed, and I was nominated to talk to you about it because, well, you're scary. What the hell does that mean? I've been out there in space saving the planet every day for what feels like a lifetime, like planet killer level crap. I take one sabbatical for personal reasons, and the sabbatical isn't the problem, Carol. People find the sabbatical relatable, human. They like it. You were taking care of family. And that's what I kind of want to talk about. I mean, are they suggesting that the general public knows about Carol Danvers' family issues? That just doesn't make sense. And you see this kind of thing throughout Marvel, where people, whether they're civilians or people would never meet one of the characters, refers to them as something that only the readers should know. The characters should not know about this. Definitely the general public shouldn't know about Carol Danvers' family problems. And then we get another page of them just talking about, well, we did a poll and this is what they felt about you, blah, blah, yada, yada. And this is such uselessness. I swear, just get to the freaking point. I'm not saying don't add in a flourish or two for character and everything, but we also need to talk about this particular conversation. And so it also goes down to, well, I'll do the interview. And he says, well, I have one more thing. And she's like, what? So that leads us to the rest of the story. But I do want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, in my opinion, the fakeness of Tony Stark and Carol Danvers' friendship or rival, whatever this is. To me, every interaction rings fake and false if we don't have the undertone of, this is the woman that almost killed me, over nothing. And it really was nothing, because there's been precogs in the Marvel Universe before Civil War II. So without that undertone, every interaction between the two of them just rings false. And here's another big problem I have with this book. Okay, so on the page before this, in the panel, she says, I would like to ask you a favor. She says, I'm already doing the interview. It says, okay, 2 favors. On this page, she says, why would I do you 2 favors? Because I'm your best friend. Try again, she says. Top 3. That hurts, Carol. It really does. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But I had to try. The favor, Tony. Well, you know what? If you had just said that right there, you skip 2 panels. You see? You see how they And so he says, right, so I could use some advice. We've got a kid here with big-time powers. She came to me because she needs some tech assistance, and we're giving her that. Obviously, she's got real potential, but she hates me. So she has excellent taste. I love her already. This entire panel is useless, by the way. I'm going to blow right by that. She's a little difficult, so naturally I thought of you. Naturally. I thought you might have some advice on how to get through to her. Okay. Great, because that's her down there, and you can see the problem. I do very much, however, like the penmanship joke. That being said, there's so much editing that needs to be done here. Okay, I understand you want to build a little character, and that's fine, but you are just wasting time. We're already 13 pages or 15 pages at this point, and you've told exactly 1 page of story, maybe 2. So Tony Stark puts the 2 of them together so they can meet each other. They insult him a couple of times, and he basically tells them to F off, and I love the way he does. Don't know what I've got to do to get some respect around every hero, be a genius, be a charming, handsome billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, comedian. Well, that's debatable. Be a pretty cool guy. Oh, wait, I'm already all those things. Later, losers. Okay, so he doesn't actually say that. But then Carol asks the girl, what's her name, Hazmat, saying, what's up? Why are you dealing with his highness of the pain in my ass? Just using him for his tech. Yeah? And I swear to God, this is how this panel reads. I've got these toxic powers, literally deadly. I used to wear a suit to insulate others from radiation. I got a handle on my powers a while back and didn't need it anymore, but recently I've been leaking again, losing control. I had to get in my suit, but Stark made some advancements with low-grade force field tech that he thinks could help, and obviously he knows something about suits. Almost makes it worth putting up with him. Almost. One thing I love about Thompson's writing are the information dumps. So then James Rhodes rounds the corner, and you know that because it says James Rhodes, and I actually kind of like that because every comic book is somebody's first, said Stan Lee, and I believe that. But this entire page is summed up in, oh, so there's something between you two that I shouldn't be involved in, so I'm going to go off. You need me, text me. You're not too old not to text, right? And then the 2 of them saying, yeah, she's a handful. Boom, done. 2 panels, 3 maybe. And then we get one of the most bizarre conversations that truly should kill tension in the Marvel Universe from here until Doomsday. So I'm just gonna say the thing you're not supposed to say. I'm so damn glad you're alive, Rhodey. You dying, I don't want to be dramatic, but it just about broke me. And I'm so happy you're back. But I didn't call because, well, death felt like a pretty strong ending, like the big evil hand of fate telling us pretty definitively that was it for us. Funny, I was thinking just the opposite. Yeah? Yeah, I've never seen anything less dead. I'm standing here looking at you and thinking I've never felt more alive or been so grateful for second chances. Don't you feel that? I'm gonna take that blush as a yes. Let's go for a walk and you can tell me more about how over you think this is. Okay. You know, now that I'm doing this, I actually think that it should be required for Marvel writers to read aloud their books to a room filled with anybody. So the two of them end up on a dinner date where basically Rhodes says he's not interested in getting back into the War Machine armor. However, he does drive around in a tank that Tony Stark had built. This leads them to do 4 panels worth of names: Tank Boy, Tank Iron Tank, Tank Humvee, that kind of thing. To the point where then on the bottom panel she picks up her phone and James Rhodes says, "Am I boring you?" And she says, No, I was just remembering that I had to meet Jessica and she was supposed to text me and she hasn't texted me and I'm kind of worried about that." So we hear all the time about how if you're a man, you can't write a woman. If you're black, you can't write a white character. If you're a white character, you can't write a black character. Kelly, you can't write men. Let me tell you what you just did there. She is not interested in anything he has to say. She went straight to her phone. She is not even thinking about what he's having to say. So he sees that and he thinks, well, she ain't that into me. So he's going to shift from the romantic feelings to I just want to bang her one last time before she leaves. But, of course, Kelly's a woman, so that's not exactly how it goes because all is forgiven, right? I mean, you know, if a woman does something bad, she should be forgiven for everything. So he says, "You want to call her?" She says, "No, I'm just being paranoid." He says, "I'm glad we did it." Past tense, doing this. Well, now it just sounds unseemly, and they move in for a kiss. And then we're introduced to one of the dumbest people in the Marvel Universe. Now, it's not expressly written that way. However, through words and actions, you kind of get that feeling. Her name is Ripley Ryan, and she says, "Oh, I'm here with Ms. Magazine." And Carol says, "Well, you know, I'm going to do this interview thing. How can we make it painless?" She says, "Well, I'm going to follow you around for a few days." She's from New York. She knows the life of a superhero. Why would somebody like Captain Marvel want her around? She even says, "Well, I can't drag you into battle." And then, of course, gets blasted to illustrate the point that Ripley Ryan is a moron. Have you noticed anything missing? Seriously, think about it. There has not been any SJW ideology or identity politics to deal with. That's right. I've been ripping into this entire thing based on merit, based on the bad writing or bad art in those cases, bad storytelling, but no identity politics has reared its ugly head. So I give you the Nuclear Man. And boy, did Kelly lay it on thick. "I came to see the great Carol Danvers. What a disappointment. Beautiful she may be, but Marvel Lady has proven to be just another woman, and thus no match for Nuclear Man." And he is described as an old Fantastic Four foe called Machismo. And as Carol flies back into the battle, James Rhodes does the smart thing and calls in the Avengers for backup. You know, like say if there was a huge kaiju or something attacking the city, you would say, "Hey, Avengers, come help." Carol knocks the Nuclear Man into the wall and they grapple. She says, "Can I help you with something?" "Yes, you can help by bowing down to me by prostrating yourself before my magnificence." Well, someone is going to hit the ground. And she flies up and then kicks him in the face and basically craters him into the ground saying, "But it isn't gonna be me." Okay, I've got to give credit where credit is due. That's good tough talk. And so the Avengers arrive late And they agree to take him away because, well, she was doing an interview. And then I discover I should have been doing all the Nuclear Man dialogue in Russian. What can I say? I forgot about the fact that he was Russian. Actually, I didn't. I almost went into a Russian thing, but I didn't really do it. Sorry. And so the Nuclear Man was playing possum. So, surrounded by Earth's mightiest heroes, he turns around, stands up, has time to clap his hands. And now to make sure you all stay down, I think a dose from my will-weakening ray will do the trick. The will-weakening ray works on all comers, though is most effective on the frail and easily persuaded female species. I don't...
Yawn.
And, of course, Captain Marvel's the one person that the ray doesn't work on. She grabs him by the throat. She's like, unhand my personage. I can't do the Russian accent anymore. I couldn't do it before, so who cares? And he says, you've been too much trouble, so I'm going to go, but first I'm going to grab the reporter from Ms. Magazine. Because why? Strategery? She's like, oh no! And she flies through the portal, and it closes behind her. And most of the guys are worried that, oh my gosh, that portal closed and Carol went through. She's going to need our help. We need to hurry. But James says, please, Thor, you saw that look on her face. Nuclear Man is toast. And so is whatever else is in there. By the time we get through, there'll be nothing left to do. Every minute she's in there, she's gonna be fighting like hell. Well, you know what? Maybe if you guys had hurried up, she wouldn't have gotten that ridiculous haircut. Here's why this ridiculous haircut is ridiculous. Because it's still long on one side. If you're like military, you want to make it short so people can't grab it, fine. Cut both sides. Otherwise, it just looks dumb. It looks really, really stupid, kids. Sorry, gang, but that is a dumb-looking haircut. The only one that can pull it off is Tank Girl. Are you Tank Girl? No, don't have that haircut. So there you go, gang. Captain Marvel #1. What did you think? Not just of the video, but the book itself. Frankly, it's a waste of time. The 13 pages spent on kaiju could have been 13 pages setting up whatever revolution they're going into. This is writing for the trade at its worst. There is so much useless information given here and so much important information left on the table. The dialogue is trying to be so clever, it forgets sometimes to give us the information, so when we finally do get it, it's one big information dump. This is not good writing, gang. I wish I could be giving you some good news. Wouldn't it be nice to have a good Captain Marvel book for a change? Unfortunately, this isn't it. So let me know what you think, not only of the book itself, but of the video. Do you still want me to do bad comic beatdowns? This was supposed to be yesterday. Unfortunately, I am late. I guess I should say Thursday. I released this on Friday. But anyway, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Also, if you like this video, please click like and share. Get word out about the channel. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't done it already, or notifications, so you can actually watch the videos you're subscribed to, because sometimes YouTube actually does their job. Also, this is the way I'm trying to make a living, so if you don't mind helping out the channel, we've got Ko-Fi, where you could just do a little tip. We've got Patreon as well, and PayPal, so go on over, drop $1 in the till, help us keep the lights on, and help us keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.